let's have a quick revision. Let's review some of the things we talked about from our last lesson. So in our last lesson, we talked about commuters and we talked about supercommuters, what it means to be a supercommuter. And we agreed that commuting, it means the daily trip you take from home to work. This is called commuting. So we talked about that. We also talked about some collocations with the verb work. So you can use work. You can say work in, you can say work for, and work with. If you want to talk about a place, you can say work in. So you can say work in a restaurant, work in a hospital. For if you want to use for, you should use it with a company. So you should say work for a fashion company, work for a travel agency, work for an oil company. And if you want to use with, you should talk about people. You should say work with people, work with teenagers, work with children. So we talked about that. We also heard the very interesting story of Gary, Sarah, and also Luke, who live far away from where they work, and they travel long distances to go to work. So we talked about that in our last lesson. And of course we talked about subject questions. So subject questions are quite important. They're very different from normal questions or from non-subject questions, because in a subject question, of course, the answer is the subject. This is the main thing you need to keep in mind. So we use the subject to answer. And we have questions, for example, like who lives in Paris? Who made the TV series? These are examples of subject questions, because in these two questions, the answer is the person, the subject. So the answer of number one is Mick Benton. The answer of number two is Sarah Mead. So we want the subject. But question number 3 and 4, it's the opposite. So here, of course, the answer is the subject in these two questions. The answer is the subject. But in these two questions, it's different. The answer is the object, right? Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not the same. So if you say who made the TV series, we say Mick. But here, what did Mick make? He made the TV series. Yeah, it's the object. يعني زي ما بنقولوا بالعربي هيك بالليبي اللي كنا دائما متعودين على استعمالهم أكثر هو النوع الثاني هذا. لأن هنا يتبعوا في كل القواعد. For example ما نستعملوش في S أو ED أو أي شيء، ديما نستعمل infinitive حسب ما تعلمنا في non-subject questions. We always use infinitives in the question, right? So we say where did you go? ما نقولوش where did you went. ممنوع. We have to say where did you go. صح؟ إن هذا non-subject question. ففي non-subject question دائما نستعمل الفعل الانفينيتيف. But if you check the subject question بالعكس صاير نستعمله في الفعل في متغير، يعني مش infinitive. Made على سبيل المثال ما تعتبرش infinitive. It's not an infinitive made. And the same thing with
make.
بالضبط الانفينيتيف اللي هي make صح زي تحت، لكن made ما هياش infinitive. فغريب الموضوع. Why do we have a verb that's not infinitive? Why do we have it in the question? فهو ممكن الموضوع يعني يعتبر كأنه مخالف للقاعدة، بس هو شيء عادي يعني. It's normal. In subject questions عادي، في الobject طبعا ممنوع. اوكي، فهذه احدى الاختلافات الرئيسية في الفورم، حتى في تركيبة الquestion يعني في اختلاف كبير. Okay, so we talked about this in our last lesson. We also did a few examples.
You got the infinitive verb in the question, is that right?
In normal verbs, in normal questions, اللي هم non-subject questions, yes. In non-subject questions, the question should be in the infinitive. زي ما It should be in the infinitive. And this is true for any verb tense. Present continuous, present simple, continuous لا. لكن present simple, present perfect ندوي simple. يعني past simple و present simple المفروض يكونوا في الانفينيتيف في الأسئلة. For example, what did you study? Study is infinitive. What did you have for lunch? Have is infinitive. بس لو منغير اللي subject question مثل who had pizza today? Who had هنقلب للpast. Who had pizza today? and الإجابة حتكون صهيب or for example أحمد or you get the idea. فمختلفات يعني subject question الموضوع مختلف على الطريقة الكلاسيكية اللي كنا متعودين عليها في non-subject questions. يعني non-subject questions هم هذول اللي كنا احنا متعودين عليهم الطريقة العادية هذه واللي هم إجابتهم في العادة بتكون object أو preposition with noun يعني عموما مش subject إجابتهم. لكن الجديد اللي هو في درس أمس أو في الدرس اللي فات the new part was this subject question. This time we don't want to ask about the object, we want to ask about the subject. This is new, of course. Okay, so we talked about this in our last lesson, and we also did this exercise in number 8, where we learned the differences between the subject and the object. And this is a very nice example. Let me just quickly remind you of number 1 and 2. So number 1 here, this is the question. Who worked in Bangkok? The answer is Mick. So this is a subject question.
Subject question.
Yeah. But the normal questions we are used to is Mick worked in Bangkok. And the question is, where did Mick work? Right? Where did Mick work? This is a normal question يتبع في كل القواعد اللي احنا متعودين عليها. Where did Mick work? يعني عندنا auxiliary did وعندنا Mick وعندنا work في الانفينيتيف. يعني هذا ماشي بالقاعدة اللي احنا متعودين عليها اللي هو في الاليمنتري او beginner اللي هو ضرورة يعني عدم تغيير الانفينيتيف نغيره فيه في البوزيتيف بس. مثلا نقدر نقوله Mick worked in Bangkok زي في البوزيتيف هنا تمام مفيش مشكلة. نقدر نقوله Mick worked in Bangkok. This is correct. لكن احنا كنا متعودين في الكويستشن يمنع التغيير الانفينيتيف. هيك كنا نعرفه. القصة الجديدة اللي صارت في الحصة اللي فاتت اللي هي موضوع subject questions مش ملتزمة بالقاعدة هذه. والملاحظة المهمة اللي مرينا عليها في الملخص we talked about subject questions. Subject questions are written in the same form as positive sentences. يعني في الحقيقة طريقة كتابتهم شبيهة بالpositive لو تلاحظوا. Mick worked in Bangkok. Who worked in Bangkok? يعني مكتوبة بنفس الطريقة اللي في الpositive صح؟ لاحظوها يعني. لو تغيروا Mick وتغيروا who هتلاحظوا الباقي مكتوبين زي بعضهم. فهذا الشيء مختلف في subject questions لأنهم ينكتبوا كأنهم positive sentences كأنهم جمل إيجابية رغم أنهم هم أسئلة. So this is important to notice. Okay. So we talked about this in our last lesson. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about free time activities, and we'll also talk about adverbs of frequency and frequency expressions. So we'll talk about that too. But first of all, let's start with a few free time activities here. Number 1. So we have vocabulary and speaking free time activities. The lesson is of course called time off. Time off. Do you know what this means? Time off? Have you heard of this expression? What do you think it means? Who can guess? Time off.
انتهاء الوقت أو
I am off. Take break from the work.
Yes, that's correct. Time off is a break from work. It's time off work. هو المفروض في معاها work لكن يعني بدو يحذفوا فعلا لأن المعنى واضح يعني. Time off work. This means your free time. Time off is your free time. It means you don't have work. Okay? Like Libya. Libya, it's always time off. There's nobody works. There's no work here in
Yes.
Libya. So it's always time off. But in the UK, of course, no, you have to work a lot. So this is, I mean, time off, weekend, holiday, all of this is time off. All right, so let's start with some free time activities, okay? So we're going to learn in this exercise the difference between using do, go, play, and go to. All right. So here, number one, it says, look at these free time activities, then fill in the gaps with number 1 to 4 with the words in bold. So here in the first part, let me put it in a box. So in this first part, we want to find a rule, really. This is what we want to do. We want to find the rule of do, play, go, and go to. We want to understand how do we use them. Let's check the first example here. Do yoga. So we use do here with yoga. We didn't say go yoga.
Yes.
We didn't say go to. We didn't say play. We said go. We used go. Okay? Sorry, we used do with yoga. And with volleyball, you can see we used play. Play volleyball. Play football also. Play basketball. And here we used, with cycling, we used go. Go cycling. Go. And with the theater, we used go to. So we could say go to the theater, go to a restaurant, go to the park, right? So here, let's talk about these rules. So number 1, it says we use something with words that end with ing. Which verb do we use here?
Go.
Go.
Right, very good. So we use go with activities that end with ing. So if you have an activity with ing, for example, cycling, can you see cycling here? Can you see the ending?
Yes.
We have ing in cycling. So we should use, in English, you should use go. Go cycling, go swimming, go hiking, go
Go shopping.
dancing, go mountain climbing. Yes, Samiha, go.
Shopping.
Exactly. Women's favorite activity, go shopping. But you're right. Yes, shopping, you should use go. And we don't use to, and we don't use to the. We just say go shopping. That's all. Good example. All right, number 2, we use something with sports with a ball and other games. What do we use?
Play.
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 Very
Play.
good. That's correct, yeah. So we say play. And you can use play with sports like football, volleyball, basketball, golf, tennis. Anything with a ball, really, anything with a ball, you can say go. Play, you can say play. Also for games like cards, chess, and the other one, what is it called? I forgot. Checkers. There's the other one, backgammon. There are many games, board games. You know board games؟ هم يلعبوا عليه board يعني سواء اللي هي الضامة أو الشطرنج أو حاجتها يعني. Play.
Yes.
All of them we use play. Chess منهم صح. Number 3, we use something with places and events. What do we use?
Go to.
Very good. Go to. Correct, Sam. Yes. Go to. So we use go to with places and events. And the last one, we use this verb to talk about things you do in a gym or a health club. Do. Correct. So if it's something that you can do inside a gym, usually we say do. For example, you know, weightlifting, aerobics, اللي هي السويدي احنا نقوله في ليبيا aerobics, or you can say cardio, do cardio. And all of this is do.
Stretching.
Do stretching, do Pilates, do karate, do boxing. No, boxing is ing, go boxing, maybe أحسن. You know, this is the idea. Do gymnastics. Very good example. Yes, do gymnastics. صح. Okay, so هذه نقدر نقوله قاعدة يعني تمشي معنا في شبه كل يعني كل الأمثلة you can use this rule. Go with words that end with ing, play with sports with a ball, go to if you want to use it for places, and do for activities inside a gym or maybe a health club. All right? So let's use these rules, let's use these ideas to answer part B now. So in part B, we want to match these activities, we want to match them with the verbs. Okay, so I'm going to say the activity or the phrase in the box, and I want you to tell me, I want you to give me the verb, okay? So museums.
Go to.
Correct, go to. Running.
Go to.
Go running.
Go.
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 Go. Running, we use go, correct. Basketball.
Play.
Play.
Play basketball.
Play. Judo. What do we use for judo? What do you think? First of all, where do we play judo? Is it in a gym, or is it indoors? Is it outdoors? Where do we play it? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, there was a small disconnection. Okay, so we were talking, let me share the book again.
Judo.
Yeah, judo. What do we use for judo?
Do.
Correct. Yeah, we do. Why do we use do judo? What do you think? What's the reason?
Because do in a gym.
Exactly, yes.
Judo and gym.
That's right, because judo is something you do in a gym, exactly. What about art galleries? What do we use for
Go
art?
to.
Go to.
Go to.
Correct, very nice. Yes, because an art gallery is a place that you go to.
A place.
Yeah. What about skateboarding? What do we use for skateboarding?
Go.
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 Correct. Yes, we
Go
go
to
skateboarding. It's an ing activities.
Go.
Go, yeah. What about cards? What do we use for cards?
Play.
Play.
Very good.
Play.
Play.
Yeah, because cards are a game, so we play cards. Very good. And then we have diving.
Go to.
Go.
Go.
Correct. It's an ing activity, so we go diving. That's correct. All right. What about Pilates?
Pilates.
Do you know
Ballet.
Pilates?
Ballet.
It's not ballet. It's not ballet. It's
Do Pilates.
That's
Like yoga.
it's like yoga. Yeah, exactly. It's similar to. There's a lot of stretching in Pilates. It's kind of like yoga, correct? What do we use for Pilates?
Do.
Yes, we do Pilates because it's something you do in a gym. You need a gym, right? So we do Pilates.
Yes.
Then we have concerts and gigs. What do we use for concerts and gigs? Go
Go
to.
to the country.
go
Yeah, because it's a place. You need to go to. You need to go to a concert. All right. What about mountain biking? What do we use with mountain biking?
Go mountain.
Go.
Correct.
Go.
Yes. Go mountain biking. Correct. Go mountain biking. And the last one, not the last one. We still have 2 sentences. The gym.
Go to
Go
the
to the gym.
Go to the gym. It's a place. Correct. Table tennis.
Play table.
Play.
Play table tennis. Gymnastics.
Do gymnastics.
Do.
Gymnastics. Very good. What about festivals?
Festivals.
Go
to festivals. Correct. Chess.
Play.
Play chess.
Play chess. Very nice. Correct. This is the general idea. Yes. All right. Okay. Now here I want you to have. You can ask each other these questions, and it says ask questions with do you ever, find 4 things that you both do in your free time. Okay, so here we can have like a conversation here. So let's choose some volunteers. Let's start with who'd like to ask and who'd like to answer?
Me.
Okay, so Suhaib, and who else?
Me.
And who are you? Samiha. Okay, Samiha, yes. All right, so Suhaib and Samiha. So I'll show you the question. Let me just answer this message, and the other student is going to sign in. Okay, so Suhaib, you're going to ask Samiha a question with do you ever? Do you ever? All right, and then choose any of the activities in the box. So for example, you can ask her, this is just an example, do you ever play chess? And of course, she can answer a short answer if she wants. She can say, no, I don't. This is correct. Nothing wrong with it. Or she can say, yes, I do. That's also fine. But you can give more information. You can use an answer like this. You can say, yes, sometimes. Or you can say, yes, once a week. Or yes, at the weekends, for example. Do you get the idea? So you're free here,
Okay.
Samiha, to answer as you like. You can use a short answer. You can give more details. All right?
All
All right, so Suhaib, you can start asking.
Do you ever play chess?
Mhm.
Yes, sometimes.
Okay. Ask her 4 questions, Abdullah. Sorry.
Do you ever play basketball?
No, I don't.
Do you ever go driving?
Go what?
Driving.
It's
السلام
diving,
عليكم.
not driving.
Diving. Oh, no.
Alaikum
No, I
salam.
Driving, yeah.
Hello, Najat.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you ever go diving?
No, I don't.
Mhm.
Do you ever go skateboarding? Boarding?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's good. Let's find someone else. Let's find Hannah. Are you there? Can you hear us, Hannah? Hello, Hannah. Can you hear us? Looks like your connection is not very good. Okay, let's choose. Where's Selma? Selma and Najat. Okay. So here, Najat, what we're doing is, can you see the activities in the box, Najat?
Yes.
Yeah. So here, of course, Selma is going to ask you some questions. She's going to ask you, do you ever? And of course, she's going to use these verbs. Let me show you the verbs. Because with each activity, we use a different verb. And let me just quickly show you how to decide which verb to use here. So if it's an activity in a gym, of course, she will use do. If it's an ing activity, she will use go. If it's a game or a sport with a ball, she'll use play. If it's a place, she'll use go to. And of course, when you answer, Najat, you're free to answer. You can use a short answer. You can say, yes, I do, no, I don't. Or you can give details. You can say yes, sometimes. You can say yes, at the weekends, in the morning, whatever. All right? So, Selma, you can start.
Okay. Do you ever go to the gym?
Yes, I always go to the gym.
Good.
Do you ever
Correct, it's correct.
do you ever play cards?
No. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why not?
I don't believe in it.
You don't believe?
In it. يعني.
There's nothing to believe. You just need to play.
I hate.
Okay, so you hate cards. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Mhm.
Do you ever go running?
Yes, but rarely.
Rarely. Mhm.
Do you ever
Ask her about judo. I think she's a violent person. Maybe she likes judo and karate. And
do you ever
I did it at a time, once a time.
yeah, I thought so too.
Life.
Yes. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, you can ask her, Salma. Ask her any question. I'm kidding. You don't have to ask about judo.
okay? Do you ever go to museum?
Museum. Yes, I love go to museum. Once a year.
Okay. Yes, once a year. That's okay.
Mhm.
If you want to use I love, that's okay. You can say yes, I love going. You have to use going with love. I love going to museums. Okay? But you can say yes once a year. That's fine. All right. Very nice. Good answers. Let's find someone else. Abdullah and do you have a
Doctor,
question?
when we talk, we forget all the grammar.
Yeah, it's just a
I
matter
know
of
it, but I forget it.
yeah, because I think if you get used to it, because the way our brains work or the way we learn,
Needs a training.
yeah, that's why we train, because the more you do it, the more you start doing it automatically.
I know after love going, but
Yeah,
forget to.
yeah, I see. All right, so let's choose Abdullah and Nairuz. Where's Nairuz? Nairuz, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I am here.
All right. Okay. So Abdullah is going to ask you about 4 activities, 4 free time activities, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself. Go ahead, Abdullah. You can ask her.
Do you ever play mountain biking?
Again?
Do you ever play mountain biking?
Okay. There's a little bit
Go.
of noise. I don't know who's the source of the noise. Hana, we found you. Hana, can you hear us, Hana? Hana? Okay. هنا عندك ممكن المايك يخشخش شوية. Okay, sorry, let's start again. Abdullah, can you ask your question? And I want you here to look, Abdullah, at this. Which verb do we use here? What do we use?
Play.
Yeah, why? Why do you want to use play?
So I think this game or
Biking? What does biking mean, Abdullah?
biking mean سائق دراجات.
Yes. تمام كويس صح. كيف what do you see here in the end? What do we use here? What's this in the end?
ing.
Okay. And what does the rule say? What does the rule say?
Yes.
Okay, so ask your question again, please.
Do you ever go mountain biking?
No, I don't.
Do you ever playing chess?
Again?
Do you ever play
Yes,
chess?
but rarely. Yes, rarely.
Rarely.
Do you ever play table tennis?
No, I don't.
Okay, ask her another thing, one last thing.
Do you ever go to museum?
Yes, maybe once in my in my whole year.
Maybe once a year, you mean?
Once a year.
Okay. All right, that's nice. Okay, so here when you ask about these activities, you have to be careful with the verbs you use, okay? So you need to be careful. Let's see, Naha, do you have a good connection? Can you talk, Naha?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, okay. So Naha here, where's... I think Hannah is not here anymore. Okay, so Samiha can ask you, okay? So Samiha will ask you 4 questions about activities, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Do you ever go to festivals?
What?
Do you ever go to festivals?
Did you hear the question, Naha? Okay, I think her connection is not very good. She can't hear us. No problem. Anyway, so this is just an example here of how to ask and answer when someone asks you about free time activities. You can always ask using do, play, go, and go to. Okay. So now let's check our next exercise. So we did number 2. We asked each other. So we finished number 2. So number 3 here. Number 3, we have a very nice survey. So here we're going to learn a little bit about British people, to be more precise. We're going to talk a little bit about the British way of life. So we're going to learn a little bit about some statistics and some information about how British people spend their free time. What do they do? Where do they go? What do they eat? How much do they exercise? We're going to find out. So here it says, how do people in the UK spend their free time? Let's have some guesses first, okay? Let's have some. Who would like to tell us? Hannah, can you hear us, Hannah?
Yes.
All right, Hannah, would you like to guess how British people spend their free time? What do you think they do in their free time, British people? Oh, let's start with Libyan people, okay? Before we talk about British people. How do Libyan people spend their free time? I mean, when they don't have war, when they're not having wars, how do they spend their free time?
Spend free time, visit our family.
Correct. We visit our families. Very good. This is an important part of Libyan culture, I think. What else? We visit our family. What other things do we do in our free time? Hannah, can you think of another one?
In summer, go to the beach.
Go to the beach. Also.
In spring, go to the public.
To the public what?
On the month. Green Mountain.
Go to the mountains or go hiking. Hiking. Go hiking. ما كانش مكتوب في الactivities. Like خلينا نضيفه. Go hiking. Does anybody know what this means? Go hiking.
Yes. Walk
I think
Yeah.
like climb.
in the mountain.
Very good. You walk in a mountain, near a mountain, in a natural place, in an open environment, in the wild, in a safari, whatever. تمشي في الطبيعة بصفة عامة. يقولوا له hiking. Hiking, of course, is different from climbing. It's not the same. Climbing, you climb like a spider. We also have mountain climbing. But hiking is not the climbing, it's different. It's like walking. So, okay, so these are 3 good activities: visiting family, going to the beach in the summer, hiking.
Shopping.
In the shopping is another important
All
Libyan
the days.
activity.
Yes.
Shopping every day.
Stay at home.
Staying
Watching
in, watching football, important also. A lot of Libyan.
Watching TV.
Make heavy meals.
Making heavy meals with lots of cholesterol and lots of saturated fat. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
What else? Najat, what did you say?
Cook and eat.
Yeah, cooking and eating. This is what
Sit in
Samiha said.
front of the TV.
Sitting in front of the TV, correct?
Social
And
media.
chat.
Yeah, going on social media, right? Commenting.
Play PUBG.
Playing PUBG, very important. Very good, yeah. Lots of people now play online games like PUBG.
Play PUBG. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that Libyans like
And
to do?
boys to play.
Sorry?
I think.
Again?
Boys like to go to playing football, I think.
Playing football?
Not just watching.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. Some boys, some...
There
or
when I live, people, yes, like play that.
like to play football, yeah. Some boys also play football, you're right. Not only watch it. Okay, these are very good examples of many different ways that Libyan people spend their free time. So we want to find out about British people. Are they the same? Are they different? How similar? How different? Who can guess? Who can guess? Give me any guess of the British way of life, how they spend their free time. Who can guess?
Like us.
Like us?
No, I don't
Listen.
think so.
Who thinks
Go to
Some people
concerts,
go
I
to
think.
cafes, restaurants.
maybe they go out more, you think? Go to concerts, go to restaurants? Yeah?
Yes.
Go to picnic.
Go on picnics, maybe? Okay. What about exercise? Do you think they exercise a lot? Or like,
Go to the
like
bar.
Libyans, go to the bar or to the pub?
Do more.
Yeah.
Do more exercise.
They
I
don't
think the
exercise?
Culture.
They all, no, do more.
They do more
Than us.
exercise? Do you think they
Yes.
do more or less exercise than Libyans?
Do more.
They do more,
Do
maybe?
more, of course.
More than Libyan.
More than Libyans?
I think it's
More than.
their lifestyle.
Do you think, who thinks their lifestyle or is healthier than us? And who thinks our lifestyle is healthier? What do you think? Who thinks the British are healthier or have a healthier lifestyle?
I think they are
I
healthier.
don't agree with you.
Okay,
I think-
Samiha thinks we're healthier.
Some people, not all.
But here we want the average. Do you know what it means?
Yes.
The average. Of course, in any country, in any place, you have people who are healthier and people who are
And people are not.
unhealthy people. But if we take the overall, or if we take the average, so of course in an average we count everybody, the healthy and the unhealthy, and then we compare. And Samiha thinks we are healthier. Who disagrees?
No. I think British more.
The British are
Yes.
healthier. Okay. Who disagrees? Who thinks we are healthier? Everybody thinks the
British
British.
people are healthy.
Yes, agree. Maybe also the food. It's different from us.
Okay, I think it's different, but is it healthier or unhealthier?
Yes, healthier.
Healthier? All right, so now we're going to read this article. Let's read. Of course, here there are some options or choices, so there's another guess.
But many people at Libya smoke.
Many people in Libya smoke.
Even,
Yes.
okay.
What about the UK? Do you think they have more smokers or less smokers?
They drink alcohol
More
more than
smoker,
here.
I think.
Yeah, but also Libyans drink alcohol, just not in
Yes,
public.
but not, yes.
Yes, the people in Libya unhealthy.
Okay, but yes,
It's
there-
personal, not.
yeah, it's not. Maybe it's not a cultural thing here in Libya. Of
Yeah.
course, it's not like in the UK. It's part of culture, part of normal culture. Yeah. All right. So now I want you to start reading about the British way of life and how the British people spend their free time. Of course, if you pay attention, if you notice here in the statistics, we always have two options. Can you see? For example, let's read. Let's start with. Let me read the introduction, and after that, I'll read with you the first example, and show you what to pay attention to. So, it says here a new survey on the free time and shopping habits of British people is published this week, and it shows that we still love football, going to pubs, watching TV, and eating fish and chips. Here are some of the results from the survey. So what do you think this word means? Survey. Survey. Do you know
Survey.
this survey? What does it mean, survey? Does anybody know?
Study, statistic, and numbers.
Correct. Correct. So a survey is a study.
Research.
It's like research with numbers. So you have numbers, statistics,
Give an
averages.
information about something.
Correct. Correct. This is a survey. So in Arabic, what's survey?
مسح.
إحصائيات.
مسح إحصائية استبيان ممكن مسح أحسنهم ممكن صح yeah maybe مسح إحصائية that's correct
في percentage.
yeah exactly you're right Najat yeah this is what survey means and if you check the first point do you see they always give you two options so it says here for example the British are always happy when they're socializing then it says 55% of men or maybe 55% of women. So you have to make a guess. Do you get the idea? And then it says 44% of maybe men or women and so on. So here we have to make a guess, okay? After that, of course, we'll listen and we will find out, but in the beginning you have to make a guess. All right, do you get how it works? All right, so
One of the number.
yeah
Yes.
you have to choose one of the options هي هذه الفكرة واحدة منهم انتوا لأن هي واحدة منهم بالصح لكن احنا مبدئيا we just have to guess we don't really know when we listen to the track of course we will find out and we will see our guesses who guessed right and who didn't okay so take some time when you get to the third point just tell me and I can move خلاص قرينا الانtroduction so we can start لا ديك النقطة الأخيرة مش حتبان okay so we can check all of them except the last point okay so when you reach the end just tell me and I'll scroll down okay so you can start Okay, I'm going to move a little bit. Did you finish the first and second point?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, from
Have you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone else, have you finished?
Yes.
Yeah. Where's okay. Okay, so let me check your guesses. Let's see. Let's start with the first point, okay? So the first point talks about socializing and going out to a bar or a pub with friends. So let's see. Let's start with the first statistic, 55%. So 55% of who do you think? Is it women or is it men?
Men.
Man.
Men?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this means if we choose men, we have to choose for the second one women, of course, right? So it means 55% of men
Yes, yes.
and 44% of women, right? Or
Yes.
do you think it's the opposite?
Mhm.
Maybe 55% of women and
I think
44
I have to choose the
opposite? For you, it's the opposite,
no,
Nehruz?
not the opposite about the percentage, maybe 55% or 45.
But we
Not
don't.
men or women. I think that.
But here we don't have a choice in the numbers. We can only choose
And
and 44% of men or women. Do you get the idea?
yes, but the same answer. Go to bar or pub. Or pub.
Correct. But here we want to see the percentage of women who
We
go
choose the first men. يعني should be in the second should be to choose the woman.
Yeah, that's what we did. Can you see? هذا اللي درناه احنا, right?
Yes.
But my question is, maybe do you want it in the opposite?
And 55% and men or women. That's you mean.
Yeah, you can only choose men or women. من هم اللي 55%? 55% of who? This is the question. Do you think it's 55%
yes.
of men, or do you think it's 55%
yes.
of women? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Does everybody agree with this number? Is there anybody who disagrees? Anybody who thinks more women go out to the bar or the pub than men? Or do you think men go to the bar or pub more in the UK? What do you think?
Yes, men.
Men is more.
Men
Men
more?
more than women.
Men
Okay.
are more.
All right. So there's an agreement, I think, here in the group that men go more. Okay, let's check the next statistic, the next point. Okay, so going to a festival or a concert at least once a year. What's the percentage of adults who go to a concert?
30, I think.
30? Who thinks it's 30?
I think that.
Do all of you agree? 30?
Yes.
Yes.
30%.
Yeah? Okay. At least once a year. And then it says there's another percentage to the theater. What about the percentage of adults going to the theater?
20.
20?
20%.
20%. Okay. And then 25 go to a museum or an art gallery. Okay. Next point. Let's see how many hours the British people watch TV. For how many hours? What do you think? And when we say generally, by the way, this means on average. This is the meaning of generally. Do you get the idea? So when we say generally, we mean on average.
Yes.
Is it 3 hours a day or is it 4 hours a day?
3 hours a day.
3,
Four.
4? So we have both. Who thinks it's 3?
3.
Who thinks it's 3?
I think it's 3.
I guess 3.
But who thinks
think-
who thinks it's 4?
I.
Yes.
Okay, Nairuz thinks it's 4. Najat, do you think it's 4?
No, 3.
3. Nairuz 3. Najat 4.
Yes.
Like us, wallahi, like us. I swear.
You think? You swear? Have you been to the UK?
No have
Yeah.
time
They
to
don't
watch
have.
TV.
They don't have time.
14.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, what about the percent of men who have dinner and watch TV at the same time? Do you think it's 25% of adults?
Like us.
Yes, 25.
But what's our percent?
45%.
Do you have
45.
do you have Libyan statistics?
25
for that?
maybe.
Do you have-
45.
45 maybe? Who thinks it's 25?
Me.
All
Me.
right, so Sohaib thinks it's 25 and Nairuz thinks it's 25. Let's also put 25 in another color. So there's disagreement here. All right, now what about the next point here? The one about social media, social networking, and time online. How much does the average British person spend? How much time does the average British person spend online? What do you think? Is it 15 hours online every month or is it 22? What do you
15
think?
hours.
15. All right.
22.
22.
Like
22.
a big issue.
It's a big issue in the UK.
Yes, they complain. UK and USA, all the world.
That people are spending too much time online.
Yes, yes.
But there's nothing now. There's nothing offline.
Because now all things doing by by
Yeah.
internet. يعني.
There is
It's
nothing
like
you can.
addiction. It's
Do you think?
not safe.
There is an addiction to social media, I agree, but I mean about being online itself. I think there's nothing to do offline, really,
Every month.
unless you want to be hit by Corona.
Right.
You can do
I
things
agree with
offline,
Mhm.
but otherwise, I think
More and more.
yeah, the numbers are not looking very good now. Okay, so we don't really know. Maybe 15, maybe 22. What about how much of this time is on social media? Not on websites, not on email, but on social
Working
media.
on
Do you think quarter of the time or half of the time?
Half.
Half of the time.
Half.
Half.
Okay. Now let's talk about sport here. Do you think more than half of all adults in the UK, or do you think less than half of all adults in the UK do some sports every month? What do you think? More or less?
Less.
Less.
More.
More. So there's also disagreement in this point.
More, I think.
More. Okay, more than half. Okay, and it says here 7% or 15% of British people go swimming. What's the percentage?
7%.
7. What about the percent of British people playing football? What's the percentage?
15.
15.
15.
7%.
7 maybe. What about this point, the one about holiday? It says most British people have a holiday once a year, but there are some who have more than one holiday. Actually, there are some people who have 2 holidays or more. But what's the percentage of people who have 2 or more holidays a year? Is it 10% of the British population, or is it 20%?
I think 20.
Remember,
travel a lot.
two or more holidays. We're not talking about.
2 or more.
We're not talking about the people who have 1 holiday. The people who have 2 or more. This is what we're talking about.
10, I think.
10. Who thinks it's 20?
Me.
They
Okay.
travel
Can guess. I can't guess.
What do you think,
every
Najat?
week. Yes, they travel a lot.
They travel a lot.
Yes, every weekend.
Every weekend?
Yes.
Okay. And the most popular holiday destination, what is it for British people? Is it Spain or is it
Spain.
France?
Spain.
Spain, not France.
Spain, yes.
France, maybe near.
But France is nearer.
Near.
And
Spain because
it has, France has the Eiffel Tower and Paris. France is more romantic, right?
Yes.
Okay, who thinks it's Spain? Who thinks it's France?
I think France.
France.
I think
Spain.
Spain.
Spain. Okay, so most of you think it's Spain. But let's write France too. Okay, this point, the one about McDonald's and fish and chips. Who, by the way, has anybody tried traditional fish and chips in the UK?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think of it? Very nice, right?
It's very nice, yes.
And very greasy. It's full of fat.
Yeah.
It's like this. It's like the fins we have here in Libya. It's the same.
That's delicious.
But it's delicious. Yeah. Traditional fish and chips. I think it's nice. I like it. Okay, so let's talk about McDonald's. What's the percentage of adults who go to a McDonald's?
The big one.
46.
The big percentage.
The big one?
46.
46. Okay. And the ones who go to a
Yes,
traditional
also
fish and chip,
46.
fish and chips shop?
30.
30?
46.
30 or 46?
30.
I think both.
30.
46.
30.
46.
46?
Traditional.
Excuse me. Okay, so let's choose 46 also. All right, now last point. Okay, last point. It's a bit difficult to mark because we still have 2 points. Okay, we're going to lose our guesses, but it's okay. Let's remove them. Now we still have 2 points.
Have another.
The one about tea and coffee, and the one about chocolate. So, how much do you think the British people spend on tea?
How much spent?
And how much on coffee? So we have 2 numbers. We have 48 million pounds a year and 56 million pounds a year. Which one goes for tea and which one goes for coffee, in your opinion?
56 in coffee.
56 on coffee. And 48 on tea. Is that what you think, Salma? Salma?
Yeah, I think that.
Okay, so Salma thinks it's 56 for coffee and 48
Coffee
for
more than tea.
coffee more than tea. Who has an opposite opinion? Who thinks it's the other way around?
No, I agree.
No?
with them.
Okay, okay. And what about chocolate? What's the average quantity of chocolate that a British person eats a year? Is it 7 kilograms a year
7.
or 10 kilograms a year?
10. They eat a
7.
lot.
10, of course.
10?
10.
Who thinks it's 7?
Me.
Okay,
I
so we
think
also
7.
7. So some of you think it's 7. All right, interesting choices. Let's go to the listening. Let's find out. I think, which ones do you think will be correct, and which ones do you think will be surprising? Which points do you think you will have surprising results? What do you think? Pre-intermediate audio. No. Alaikum salam. Hi, Naha. Can you hear us, Naha?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry for leading. Sorry,
No,
Dr. Samiha, because I'm not answer your question because I was in bus.
Okay. No problem.
وعليكم السلام.
Yeah, alaikum salam. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I can't find the CD. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, here it is. Okay, so we want, which track do we want? We want track 7, CD1, track 7. Let's go. Okay, here it is. Not this one. Okay, can you hear the CD, the recording? Can you hear it?
No.
No.
No?
No?
All right, just
No.
a second. I'll play it. I think now you will hear it. But we're going to start from the beginning, of course. So we'll start from here, okay? From the introduction. If you hear the CD, just tell me.
Track 7. A new survey on the free
Yes, I
time
heard
and
it.
shopping habits of British people is published this week. And it shows that we still love football, going to pubs, watching TV and eating fish and chips.
Yes.
Here are some of the results from the survey. The British are always happy when they're socialising. 55% of men and 44% of women go to a bar or pub with their friends every week. About 30% of adults go to a festival or a concert at least once a year, and 20% go to the theatre. About 25% go to a museum or an art gallery. British people generally watch TV for about 4 hours every day, and about 45% of men have dinner and watch TV at the same time. The average British person spends more than 22 hours online every month, and a quarter of that time is on social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. More than half of all adults in the UK do some sport every month. About 15% of British people go swimming, and 7% play football, but 32% watch football on TV once or twice a week. British people normally go on holiday once a year, but 20% of people have 2 or more holidays a year. The most popular holiday destination is Spain. 30% of adults go to a McDonald's restaurant every 3 months, but 46% go to a traditional fish and chip shop. The British spend about £48 million on tea and £56 million on coffee every month. And every British person eats 10 kilograms of chocolate every year, more than any other country in the world.
Okay. Any surprising facts about the British people? I think our guesses are good. What do you think?
Yes.
Because the first one was completely correct. The second one, I think not all of them were correct. We also have the one about tea and coffee.
I think 70% was correct.
70% of our guesses?
Yes.
I think more, because this is also correct. The last point was correct. We said 7 now. We didn't say 10 kilos. But we answered the one about tea and coffee correctly. We answered the one about Spain correctly, 20% correctly. Sport, I'm not sure we answered that correctly. This one, there was some disagreement, but I think our guesses are good. All right, now my question is...
Quoi?
Uh-huh. Yes, sorry, what's your question? Is it Noha who spoke? Hannah?
Yes.
Who had a question? في حد سألك الquestion.
لا ما سألتش جاوبت معك بس.
Okay, yeah. All right, so which of them are surprising? Which of these points do you think are surprising, or maybe different from Libya?
I think the time online.
The
Just
time.
22 hours online every month.
Do you think this is a lot or not a lot?
No, not a lot.
Not a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, but 22 hours online a month, it means...
7% play football. That's surprise.
It is
It's not a lot, you think?
not a lot. We
Yeah.
spend 22 hours in
1 day.
3 days.
3 days.
Or 1 day maybe.
For me, I spend
That's
22
so bad.
hours a day, maybe, because of the lessons. I'm always online.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what about 7%, Suhaib? You think it's surprising? It's not a lot? Did you think it's more?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not a lot, yeah. But 32 watch TV. Watch football, I mean, on TV. So I think maybe if you watch a lot of football, you won't need to play it.
Yes.
What about the chocolate part? Do you think it's surprising that the average person eats 10 kilos of...
No.
It's not surprising?
10 kilo.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. What about us in Libya? Do you think we... Excuse me. Do you think we eat 10 kilos of chocolate here in Libya a year?
More, maybe.
Do you think more?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe
More.
maybe Nutella. Only Nutella, maybe more.
Nutella, yes.
I
Every
think...
morning.
Yeah, I think Nutella, maybe we eat 10. But for other chocolate, actually, Libyans don't eat a lot of chocolate. I think because we shouldn't count children here. We're counting, I think, more adults here. You know, like us going and just think to yourself, how often do you go to a supermarket and buy chocolate? It's not a lot, right? I don't think we do it because in our culture, chocolate is for children. It's not for grown-up people, I think. So most grown-up people don't eat chocolate. They eat maybe, Oriental sweets, traditional things, magrood, baklava. Nutella is the only exception, I think. Even grown-ups, they buy the jar and they eat it with a spoon. All right, so these are some facts about the British people. We can move on. let's talk a little bit about vocabulary here. Of course, we have the adverbs of frequency, and these are the same from beginner and elementary, but I think maybe we have a few additions here. But first of all, let's put them in order, okay? So number one, this is the highest frequency, the thing that you do all the time, always is number one. Number two is generally, or normally, or usually. So if you say generally, or if you say normally, it's like saying usually. Do you get the idea? So it's another way of saying usually. So if you say, I usually eat chocolate in the morning, this is the same as saying, I normally eat chocolate in the morning. I generally eat chocolate in the morning. So they're almost the same meaning. What about number three? What do you think is the third one in order here in this box? What comes after generally? What do you think?
Usually.
These are all together. Usually, normally, generally, they're together, sorry.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Often, and then sometimes.
Often and then sometimes, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. So often and then sometimes.
Then hardly ever.
Then hardly ever.
Occasionally.
We forgot occasionally.
And then hardly ever.
Occasionally after sometimes, I think.
Okay. So occasionally after sometimes.
And the last one, never.
And
Never.
Okay. And the last one is never. I think that's
Never.
hardly ever is before never.
Before never.
Yeah, and the last one should be never.
Last one,
Never.
never.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So of course, I think everybody remembers how to use adverbs of frequency. We use them to show how often you repeat something. This is the idea. It just says how many times per week, per day, per month in your life, generally speaking, how many times you do this action. You can, of course, use a frequency adverb or a frequency expression. But before we get to frequency expressions, let's quickly review this rule of how to use frequency adverbs. So who can give me an example? Let's write two examples. One of them with a verb and one of them with verb to be. And I want both examples to have an adverb of frequency. Who can give me an example? So give me an example like I'm something, whatever, using an adverb of frequency. Who can do that?
I always do sport.
Okay.
I am sometimes playing computer games.
Okay, so these are the same. I sometimes play, let's use this one. I always do sport. I sometimes play video games. They're the same. So here we used the verb is play. Now I
don't often go shopping.
Okay, this is also, it's correct, but I want an example with verb to be. You have to put verb to be. Who can think of an example with verb to be? Okay, I'll help you. If you want to use verb to be with a frequency of with an adverb of frequency, you should use an adjective in the end, because you can't use verb to be with another verb. For example, you cannot say I'm sometimes play. No, it's not correct. So you can say
في the first paragraph, British are always happy.
Okay, let's write this. The British
are always happy.
Are always happy. So happy is an adjective, right? This is my point.
Yeah.
If you want to use verb to be with adverbs of frequency, I think most likely you'll have to use an adjective in the end, right?
Like
So,
I'm always busy.
I'm always
Or
busy.
I'm sometimes.
Good. I'm always busy. I'm sometimes tired.
Times tired.
Ahmed is never late. Muhammad is always noisy. The weather in Libya is sometimes dry. The weather in Sweden is usually snowy, you know? So if you want to use adverbs of frequency with verb to be, I think most of the time you have to use an adjective at the end of the sentence.
Adjectives.
All right, but this is not the point of the question. I'm going to show you the point of the question now. Now we have two simple and nice examples, one of them with a verb, play, and the other one with verb to be, are. But I want you to pay attention to the order, to the sentence. In examples with verb to be, let's start with the first one. The second one, let's start with it first. The British are always happy. Do we use the adverb of frequency? Do we use it before verb to be, or do we use it after verb to be?
After.
Yeah, right? We use it after. Do you see?
After verb to be.
It's after verb to be,
After,
right?
yeah.
After.
Are
Yes.
always. But in the first example, do we use the verb, I mean the adverb of frequency, does it come after the verb or before the verb? The adverb of frequency,
Before
is it
the verb. Before the verb.
After.
Before.
Before the verb.
Before
the verb.
Before the verb, right? Because the verb is
Yes.
play and sometimes is before the verb, right? But
Yeah.
here it's the opposite. Always is after the verb. I mean, verb to be. Do you get the idea? So the order is opposite when you use a normal verb. When I say normal, I mean any verb. Play, go, sleep, eat,
Play.
drive, run, you know, any verb. You should put the
But
adverb of
different with
frequency
verb to be.
with verb to be, it's after. All right? This is so let's use these two sentences. Let's use these two sentences to finish this rule. So in this rule, we want to write before or after in the right box. So here we're going to use either before or after. Let's start with the first rule. So it says frequency adverbs, they go before or after verb to be. What do you think?
After.
After, exactly. Because if we look at the
After
example, the British people are always. So this means after, right? After verb to be. And what about other verbs? Do we put the frequency adverb?
Before.
That's it.
Verbs before.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So this is just you know, it's just a reminder. They're reminding us of where to put the adverb of frequency in the sentence. Before verb to be and before verbs and after verb to be. All right, now in the next part here, in part C, we're going to talk about frequency expressions. So you can think of frequency expressions, they're like cousins of frequency adverbs, right? They're kind of the same. We use them a little differently, but I think the purpose is the same. We use them for the same purpose. They also show us how often we repeat something, right? So for example, if someone asks you, how often do you drink coffee? You can say, I always drink coffee. You can say, I sometimes drink coffee. Or you can say, I drink coffee twice a day. I drink coffee 3 times a day. I drink coffee once a week, right? So you can use these frequency expressions also to answer the question of how often you do something, all right? So now we're going to put all of these expressions in order. So the first one is twice a day, and the last one is once or twice a year. Okay, now what's number 2? What's the next one?
3 times a week.
3 times a week.
3 times a week.
3 times a week?
3 times a week.
Yes.
Okay. So this is number 2. What comes after that?
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
All right, every Saturday. And then what comes next?
Every
Couple of weeks.
couple of weeks.
Do we use every couple of weeks or
Every
once
couple
a
of
month?
weeks.
Which one is closer? Which one is more frequent?
Every couple of weeks.
Every couple
of weeks.
Every couple.
Yeah, that's correct. Every couple of weeks is more frequent than once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month.
Once
Yeah.
a
Once a month.
Okay.
once or
Then
twice a year.
once every 3 months.
Once every 3
Last
months.
month.
That's it. Very nice. Okay. So these are also very useful. You can just say how many times you do something or your friend does something using these expressions. All right, so everything is fine now. Let's take a look at part D. Let's check part D. They want us here to look at frequency expressions in pink in the article. So we're going to go back very quickly, very briefly to the article, and then we want to choose the correct phrase in the question. But first of all, let's check the point or the question or what the rule says. The point here says we usually put frequency expressions before the verb or at the end of the sentence. Okay, before we check, who can give me an example using any of these expressions? Any example you want, with any expression you want. Abdullah, can you give us?
I go shopping once a week.
Okay, this is good. I go shopping once a week. Abdullah, can you give us another example?
Okay, I am going.
Use another verb. Don't use go. Use eat.
Okay.
How often do you eat couscous, Abdullah? How often?
Once a month.
Once a month only? I think you should tell
No,
your mother to make it more often.
Twice a month.
Twice a month. Okay, that's good. So you can say, I eat couscous, for example, twice a month or once a month.
Yes.
Okay, good example, yeah. All right, but from
Can
these
I give
two,
some?
yeah, go ahead, please. Give us an example now.
I always visit my grandmother every Friday.
Okay, but here you don't have to use always. If you say every Friday,
Okay.
so you can say, I
Okay.
visit my grandmother every Friday. This is a good example of a frequency expression, right? Grandmother, of course, there's a D.
I every day go to work.
I think it's the other way around.
Go to work every.
Can you do it
It's
again?
before the verb.
Is it
I
before?
every day go to work.
Are you sure?
The
Do you want?
last sentence.
Can you try it again? Nairuz, put it in reverse.
So we usually before the verb sometimes. I every day go to work.
But here it doesn't say before. هنا أعطيك option راه للعلم. إحنا بنختاره. هو قال لك يا إما before the verb يا إما at the end of the sentence. إحنا مازال ما قررناش.
I understand that. At the end of the sentence is
Yeah.
or. Okay.
Yeah, or. So because عندك هنا you can see the slash here. But we're still checking. يعني هذا ليش تو نشوفه في الأمثلة. تو شفنا مثال نها. I visit my grandmother every Friday. And also Najat's example, I go shopping. What did you say, Najat? What was your example?
Once a week.
once a week. This is another good example. And also Abdullah, he said, I eat couscous. I eat couscous, they say in English. I eat couscous. He said once once a month. I'm sure he eats more than that, but I don't know why he said once a month. Okay, but so what do you see from these three examples? Where do we use the frequency expression? Do we use it before the verb, or do you think it's at the end?
At the end.
At the end.
It looks like I think
also
it's
on the paragraph.
I think it's at the end, but let's confirm this, okay? Let's check the pink sentences in the article, and if we find them after the verb, it means it's after the verb. Let's take a look. So here, this says 55% of men and 44% of women go to a bar. So go is the verb, okay? Go is our verb. Go to a bar or pub with their friends every week. So we used every week after go, right? Okay, let's take a look at the other example. The average British person spends, so the verb is spends, more than 22 hours online every month. Again, every month is after the verb. The same thing here, watch football. Watch is the verb, once or twice a week, this is the expression. Again, here, go on holiday.
Go.
It's after.
Once a year.
Yeah, once a year is after go. Go to McDonald's every 3 months. So this means it's correct, okay? This means your first answer is correct. We use frequency expressions. We use them at the end of the sentence, okay? After the verb. After the verb. All right, so now we've answered all the questions here in the grammar focus. Now we can take a look at the summary. Maybe we can find some tips. Let's check the summary. Let's find out. So here we are. Okay, this is page 13. All right, let's take a look. So free time activity. We finished this. All right, here it is. So we say always, then we have usually, normally, generally, we have often, then sometimes, then occasionally, then hardly ever. So this is correct. And frequency adverbs go after the verb. The British are always, verb to be, after verb to be, are always happy. And before other verbs, generally watch. Can you see it here? It's clear, I think, right? So are always, so it's after verb to be, but it's before normal verbs. It's before other verbs. This is an important tip, actually. Okay, let me see if there's any other tips. We still have more information, frequency expression. Okay, this is an interesting tip here. Noah, can you please read this tip for us and tell us what you think about it, this tip?
Okay. We can't use sometimes, occasionally, hardly, ever, or never with the negative verb forms. We can say, I don't often go out, but not, I don't sometimes go out.
So what do you think this means? Or can you summarize it for us? What do you think they're trying to tell us?
Can't use sometimes. Can speak in Arabic?
If you can in English, that would be better.
I will try.
Okay.
You not use sometimes and occasionally, hardly ever with negative verbs like negative verb.
Like I don't, right?
Yes, I like. I don't like. I don't like. As example, I don't like drink coffee. Hardly ever like.
Okay, this is an example. You can't do that, right?
We can do, yes, we can do, but not I don't sometimes go out. Same example. Like I don't. I try to find the example. I don't go to shopping sometimes. We can't say this.
Yes, correct. We can't, yeah. But for example, if you want to, let's say...
I do. I do work sometimes, like...
But here, no, I have an idea. For example, I'm going to give you an Arabic example. I want you to do it in negative in English. مثلا نبيك تقولي أنا ما نمشيش التسوق هلبة مثلا، ما نمشيش بكثرة التسوق يعني. كيف حديرها in English? In
English, I don't go to the shopping. I will use sometimes. I will not use sometimes. I don't go to shopping.
Okay, let's use it. I mean, present simple من غير ال frequency adverb. Okay, let's do it in negative phase. How do you say أنا ما نمشيش للتسوق فقط مثلا? How do you say it?
Okay, I don't go.
Correct.
Shopping.
Correct.
I don't go to the shopping.
Okay, and with shopping, because it's an ing activity, right? So we shouldn't use to. We can just say shopping directly, right?
Go shopping.
Yeah. I don't go shopping.
Okay.
If a person says I don't go shopping, it means he doesn't go or she doesn't go at all. Okay.
At all, yes.
Yeah, but
try to find.
I hardly ever go shopping.
Okay, this is I hardly ever. يولدتهم لطفة شوية أحسن شوية. I hardly ever go shopping. Okay. يعني هذا شخص بالكاد يمشي, right? I hardly ever go shopping. But I want نبي نفس المعنى هذا متاع بالكاد لكن نبيه بالنيجاتيف.
Without use hardly ever or occasionally.
I don't often go shopping.
شن كان سؤالك نهى? Can you say your question again, please?
I can't use sometimes or occasionally or hardly ever with the negative.
You can't. بالضبط. ما هو هذا السؤال هو أنك أنت بتستعملي نيجاتيف لكن من غير ما تستعملي أي منهم. هي هذه الفكرة.
Okay.
And طبعا عاطينها لك هنا أعطيك الطريقة اللي هي بالطريقة هذه. Can you see it in the box?
I don't often go.
Yeah. So when you say I don't often, هذه زي I hardly ever.
Okay.
شبه نفس المعنى. It's something that you don't do a lot. You do it, but rarely. It's something you don't do a lot. So in reality, I hardly ever go shopping. If you want to do it in negative, you can say I don't often go shopping.
Shopping.
Yeah. It's another way.
Or Victor, we can say I never go shopping. Don't.
Yeah, correct. But I never it means like حيعطينا نفس المعنى الأول.
Yes.
لكن أنا كنت نبي اللي
like sometimes always. يعني زي ما تقول أنت الverb to be والdo does ما يتلاقوش.
Correct. But الفكرة أن I never go shopping تعطي اللي هي 0%. لكن ال hardly ever يعني مرة في الشهر تمشي. Rarely. لكن مش ما تمشيش بكل. هي هذه الفكرة يعني. فهنا مجرد الملحوظة هذه التip اللي كان مفيد فيها 2 in 1 أعطانا نقطتين مهمات أن وضحنا ال adverbs of frequency بصفة عامة كلهم ما تقدروش تستعملون في النيجاتيف ما يمشيش حالهم في النيجاتيف. You can't. All of them. You can't use them. لا sorry. Actually, usually you can use it for negative.
Except sometimes, occasionally, and hardly ever, and never.
هادو ما يمشوش في negative. لكن usually تمشي.
Okay.
So you can say I don't usually go out. Well, I don't often go shopping. I don't usually go shopping. حتى هذه مقبولة. You can use I don't usually go shopping. You get the idea. يعني لو عندك رغبة في استعمال adverb of frequency بالإضافة ل don't.
Okay.
طبعا هذه أشياء يعني مجرد optional هي كلها يعني. ديما في اللغة الإنجليزية الأفضل ديما البحث عن الأسهل شيء. كمتعلم ديما دوره القصيرة أو البسيطة. يعني هذه مجرد إضافات للجو.
Like,
What do you think?
I'm sorry. I think also always also can't use in negative. Like I don't always go. I think can say this.
You can, yeah. You can say I don't always wake up early. Usually this is part of a joke. مدينهم حتى memes على الانترنت. They say, for example, I don't always كذا, but when I do, it's like, for example, someone says, I don't always eat chocolate, but when I do, I eat, for example, 5 bars of chocolate. You get the idea? Or for example, I don't always eat couscous, but when I do, I eat so much I throw up. Do you get the idea? يدير فيها زي نوع من الجوك هم. لكن but it's correct. You can use it. I don't always go shopping. I don't always go shopping. It's also correct. Let's write it here. It's acceptable. I don't always go shopping. So the real problem is sometimes وعندنا occasionally, hardly ever, and never. These four they don't work well with negatives. ما يرتكبش يعني. Okay, the rest you can use them with negative, no problem. You can use them with negative. ولو تبوا تنحوا قصة النيجاتيف ترتاحوا منها بكل حتى هو مقبول. ما تستعملهمش نهائيا. Do you get the idea? يعني في الحقيقة أنتم مش محتاجين حتى. Yeah, just say I never. لو يعني هذه تغنيكم. I never go shopping وانتهينا من القصة. ولو تبي تزيدوا شوية I hardly ever go shopping وخلاص. لكن هي don't يعني نوع من التنوع بس وهذا يعني قصد. Okay, so this is the first tip. We can't use sometimes, occasionally, hardly ever, and never. We cannot use them with negative. Okay, now let's move to frequency adverbs in this part. To talk about frequency, we can use. All right, okay. So here they've given you some options. بالنسبة للfrequency expressions, you can use every, you can use once, you can use twice, you can use 3 times. And you can change the time phrase. So you can say every Saturday, every Monday, every week, every month, every year, any time phrase you want, right? Once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year, the same thing. Twice a day, twice a month, twice a year, 3 times a week, 3 times a year, 3 times a day. 3 Muslims pray 5 times a day, right? So this is a frequency expression, 5 times a day. So here you're free to change the word, but this is how you make it. Just use every, or once, or twice, or 3 times, or 4 times, or 5 times, whatever, okay? And we also agreed that you need to write it at the end of the sentence. هذا اتفقنا عليه. Okay. Okay, so we have 3 nice tips here. Okay, let's start with the first tip. Abdullah, can you read the first tip? What does it say here?
To ask about frequency, we use how after. How often we use how often. How often do you go running?
Correct. And you have to, I think one of the things الحاجة اللي ما ذكروهاش هم اللي هي this. Because remember, frequency expressions and frequency adverbs, which tense is this, by the way? Let's ask you. Which tense or which verb form is this question? What verb form is this?
Can I answer?
Sure.
Present simple.
Okay, why? Why is it present simple, Najat?
Do.
Correct, exactly. Correct, yeah. So بالرغم انه هو الموضوع نفسه احنا قاعدين نتكلم عن adverbs of frequency. Sorry, Najat?
Ask about the routine.
Exactly.
Present simple.
Exactly. بالضبط احنا قاعدين في البريزنت سمبل وما طلعناش من البريزنت سمبل. يعني التفاصيل هذه كلها هيك تبان هلبة لكن هو كله قاعد في البريزنت سمبل. يعني ببساطة لو من بسط الموضوع لأبسط حد يعني نقدر نلغاها هذه بكل ويقعد لنا yes no question صح؟ Can you read it نجاة؟
Do you go running?
Yes I do, no I don't. Right? يعني احنا قاعدين في البريزنت سمبل ما طلعناش منها لكن how often مجرد السؤال أصبح واضح شنو المطلوب. معناها الشخص يبي يعرف قداش مرة.
Numbers.
Yeah, they want the number. They want the frequency. التكرار التردد هذا. This is the idea, okay? All right, so how often? This is how we ask about how many times you do something. All right, now let's check the last 2 points. Okay, so Suhaib, you can read the last 2 points. Tell us what they're trying to say here. What did they say?
Okay. For plural numbers of days, weeks, etc., we use once, twice, etc. Plus every. I go once every 3 months. A couple of weeks, 2 weeks.
All right, so here it's just the option of you can use plural. You don't have to use singular. You can say once a month, but if you do it, for example, مثلا نقول اجتماع, or maybe a conference, or maybe a business trip. So you can say, I have a business trip once every 2 months. So the only difference between this tip واللي قبلها الاختلاف الوحيد اللي هو في التايم phrase نفسها is different. Here it was singular, once a month, once a week, but it's exactly the same if this is plural. لو once every 2 months, once every 3 months, twice every 2 months. لو بتقولوا twice every 2 months كأنه قلتوا once a month. Maybe 3 times every 4 months. You get the idea. So there's no difference. You can do it in the same way. It's the same thing. Just put S for the plural time. So days, so months, years, and so on. For example, if we want to talk about leap year, so we can use this example. There's a leap year every 4 months, every 4 years. Do you know what a leap year is? Who knows what a leap year is? What happens every 4 years in the calendar? There's something that Who answered?
Flooding, I think flood.
Floods? Hannah, let's see. Hannah, are you there? معانا Hannah?
سنة كبيسة.
Yes.
Yes.
من قال سنة كبيسة؟
Me.
Abdullah, Suhaib.
Yes, right.
Okay. Correct, Suhaib, yes. Yeah, that's correct. Sana kabisa, yes. A leap year. This is a year where you have the 29th of February.
February.
Yeah, so this is a leap year. So here لاحظوا أن استعملنا years لأن مش كل سنة، كل 4 سنين. فنضيفوا s. This is what the last tip is saying. Okay. So I think frequency expressions and frequency adverbs are clear. I think we can now do the exercise before we finish. Let's do the exercise. So here we have an exercise. It's very nice. Now we want to make sentences using these words. All right, so let's divide this. So I'm going to read number 1, and then I'll ask each one of you to do one of these examples. So number 1, I sometimes go running on Sundays. Hannah, can you do number 2, Hannah?
Where?
Here, exercise 5, number 2. Let me show you. Can you see it? Can you see it, Hannah? Number
Yes.
2. So put
Yes.
it in the right order, please.
Okay. We do
Mm-hmm.
we do yoga. We sometimes normally
صح.
do yoga once a week.
Very good. We normally
Once or twice a week.
correct. Let's write it. All right. We normally do yoga. We normally do yoga once or twice a week. All right. Okay, Samiha, you can do number 3. Are you there, Samiha? Okay, Samiha's not there. Let's see someone else. Salma, can you do number 3? Are you there, Salma? Can you see number 3? Put it in the right order. Okay, Salma is not there. Okay, Sohaib, you can take the turn.
I go to the dentist every once 6 months.
Okay, let's write the beginning. I go to the dentist. لا هنا صح.
Once every 6 months.
Very nice. Once every 6 months. All right. Let's see. Nairuz, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you do number 5, please? 4, I mean.
Yes. Alexander is generally at home on Sundays.
All right, nice. Alexander is generally at home on Sundays.
On Sundays.
All right, very good. Okay, Selma, are you back? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, can you do the next one? Number 5.
Carly goes diving every couple of weeks.
Nice. Carly goes diving every couple of weeks. Okay, good. Let's see someone else. Naha, are you there? Can you hear us, Naha? Hello, Naha's not there. Najat is here. Okay, Najat, can you do number, where is it? Number 6?
Okay, I try. My parents are always on holiday in January.
Yes, my parents are always on holiday in January. Okay, good. Samiha, are you there? Samiha. Okay, Samiha is not there. Noha, can you hear us? Noha disconnected. Let's see someone else. Okay, Hannah, you can do number 7. Can you do number 7, please, Hannah?
Okay.
I go to
Mhm.
an art gallery.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Noha. You can do number 8. Let's listen to Hannah do number 7. وانتي تقدري بعدها. You're the next one.
I go to an art gallery.
Mhm.
2 or a
Okay,
year,
I'm sorry.
2 or 3 year at a time.
Okay, خلينا نكتب الجزء الأول. The first part is correct. I go to an art gallery. Okay. What's the next part, Hannah?
2 or 3
Okay.
time a year.
Very good. Can you repeat it from the beginning? Can you say it from the beginning?
Times a year.
Yeah, but can you read the sentence from the beginning? من الأول عادي.
I go to an art gallery 2 or 3 times a year.
Nice, very nice. Noha, can you hear us, Noha?
Yeah.
All right. Can you do number 8?
We play volleyball occasionally at the weekend.
Can you check example number 1? Can you read number 1, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. We occasionally play, because verb play, yes, I'm sorry. We occasionally play volleyball at
good, nice. All right, I think the last one, I don't know if Samiha is there. Samiha's not there. Okay, Abdullah, can you do number 9?
Okay. I see. Yes. I see grandparents once or my grandparents. I
Good.
see my grandparents once or twice a year.
Very nice. I see my grandparents once or twice a year. Very good. Okay. So these are examples of, these are mixed examples. Some of them have adverbs of frequency. Some of them have frequency expressions. Some of them are mixed. Some of them have verb to be. Some of them have normal verbs. But this is the general idea, how to use frequency adverbs and frequency expressions with normal verbs and with verb to be, okay? So that's all for today. Hopefully next time we will also do a little bit of listening. We will also use more examples, but we'll talk about ourselves this time. So examples like number 5, but each one of you can talk about some examples, and we're going to listen to an interesting survey. So here we have a survey we will listen to the activity and how often does Robert do these things. We'll find out. شوية هنتكلم عن sentence stress, and then we have some how to start conversations and end conversations. So this part اللي هو ديما جزء دي من اليونت. It's usually spoken English اللي هو العادة الإنجليزية المستعملة في everyday language and conversations. تركيز أكثر دائما على listening and speaking في الجزئية هذه. All right, so have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday. Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. All right?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for your time. You're
Have
welcome.
a good
Yes.
week.
Have a good weekend
Thank you,
too.
Doctor.
Yeah.
All right,
Doctor.
have a great weekend. You're welcome, everyone.
And you.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
you're welcome. Bye-bye.